Imagine this, you're stuck in a life you hate. You're overweight, broke, and every day feels like a battle just to get out of bed. Now, fast forward a few years and you're one of the toughest humans on the planet, a Navy SEAL, an ultra-endurance athlete, and a guy who literally laughs in the face of pain. Sounds like a movie, right? But this is the real-life story of David Goggins. And his book Can't Hurt Me is like a masterclass in how to turn your life around when everything feels impossible. So what's this book really about? At its core, it's a raw, unfiltered look at human potential. Goggins doesn't sugarcoat anything. He takes you through his journey, from growing up in poverty and abuse to becoming a guy who's run ultramarathons on broken legs. Yeah, you heard that right. Broken legs. But here's the thing, this isn't just a memoir. It's a wake-up call. The main problem Goggins tackles is something we all struggle with. That little voice in our head that says, "You can't do it." You know the one. It's the voice that tells you to hit snooze, skip the workout, or give up when things get hard. Goggins calls it the inner critic, and his whole mission is to help you shut it down. Now, why should you care? I mean, unless you're planning to run 100 miles in the desert, what's in it for you? Well, here's the kicker. This book isn't just for athletes or adrenaline junkies. It's for anyone who's ever felt stuck. Maybe you're in a job you hate, or you're struggling with self-doubt, or you're just tired of feeling like you're not living up to your potential. Goggins' story is proof that no matter where you start, you can rewrite your ending. And here's the best part. It's not about being born special. Goggins wasn't some naturally gifted athlete or a genius. He was just a guy who decided to stop making excuses and start taking control. So if you've ever thought, "I'm not strong enough," or "I'm not smart enough," or "I'm just not lucky enough," this book is about to blow those excuses out of the water. Who's this for? Honestly, everyone. If you're an athlete looking to push your limits, this book will give you the mental edge. If you're an entrepreneur trying to build something from nothing, Goggins' mindset will keep you going when the odds are stacked against you. And if you're someone who's just tired of feeling stuck, whether it's in your career, your health, or your personal life, this book is your roadmap to breaking free. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," or "It's too hard," or "I'm not good enough"? Goggins' message is simple. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop letting fear call the shots. And start taking ownership of your life. Because here's the truth, you're capable of way more than you think. So, if you're ready to stop settling and start pushing your limits, stick around. We're about to dive into the key lessons from Can't Hurt Me, and trust me, by the end of this, you'll be looking at your challenges in a whole new way. Chapter 1. The 40% Rule. Imagine you're running a marathon. Your legs are burning, your lungs are on fire, and every part of you is screaming to stop. You're convinced you've hit your limit, that you can't possibly take another step. But what if I told you that you're only operating at 40% of your true potential? That's the core idea behind David Goggins' 40% Rule, a concept that flips everything we think we know about our limits on its head. The 40% Rule is both simple and revolutionary. Goggins argues that when most people feel like they've reached their breaking point, they've actually only tapped into less than half of what they're truly capable of. It's not the body that gives out first. It's the mind. Our brains are wired to protect us from discomfort, pain, and failure. They send us warning signals long before we're actually in danger, convincing us to stop, slow down, or give up. But here's the thing, those signals are often lies. They're not indicators of our true limits. They're just barriers we've built in our minds. Goggins didn't come up with this idea in a moment of inspiration. He discovered it through sheer, brutal experience. As a Navy SEAL candidate, he faced some of the most grueling physical and mental challenges imaginable. During Hell Week, a 5.5-day stretch of constant training with minimal sleep, he found himself on the verge of quitting. His body was broken, his mind was exhausted, and every part of him wanted to ring the bell and walk away. But instead of giving in, he made a decision. He would keep going no matter what. What he discovered was astonishing. Even when he felt like he had nothing left, he was able to push through and keep moving. It wasn't his body that had failed him. It was his mind. By refusing to listen to the voice telling him to quit, he unlocked a level of endurance he didn't know he had. That experience became the foundation of the 40% Rule, a principle that would guide the rest of his life. So, how does this apply to you? Think about the last time you felt like you'd reached your limit. Maybe it was during a workout, a tough project at work, or even a personal challenge. Chances are you stopped because your mind told you to, not because your body or abilities were truly maxed out. The 40% rule is a reminder that we're all capable of far more than we think. It's a call to push past the point of mental surrender and discover what we're really made of. But let's be clear. This isn't about ignoring pain or pushing yourself to the point of injury. It's about learning to distinguish between real physical limits and the mental barriers we impose on ourselves. Discomfort, as Goggins often says, is a sign of growth. It's the feeling of your limits expanding, of your potential being unlocked. When you learn to embrace that discomfort instead of running from it, you open the door to a whole new level of achievement. Take, for example, the story of a woman who decided to run her first 5K. She had never been a runner, and the idea of completing 3 miles felt impossible. On race day, she started strong but quickly hit a wall. Her legs ached, her breathing was labored, and she was ready to quit. But then she remembered the 40% rule. She told herself, "You're only at 40%. You can do more." And she did. She pushed through the pain, crossed the finish line, and discovered a strength she didn't know she had. That's the power of the 40% rule. It's not just about physical endurance. It's about mental toughness. It's about training your mind to keep going when everything in you wants to stop. And the best part? It's a skill you can develop. The more you practice pushing past your perceived limits, the stronger your mental resilience becomes. So, how do you start applying the 40% rule in your own life? Begin by paying attention to those moments when you feel like giving up. Whether it's during a workout, a challenging task, or a personal goal, ask yourself, is this really my limit, or is my mind just trying to protect me from discomfort? Then, make a conscious decision to push a little further. It doesn't have to be a huge leap, just one more rep, one more paragraph, one more step. Over time, those small pushes will add up, and you'll start to see just how much you're truly capable of. The 40% rule isn't just a concept. It's a mindset. It's a reminder that our limits are often illusions, and that we have the power to break through them. By embracing discomfort and refusing to let our minds dictate our actions, we can unlock levels of potential we never thought possible. So, the next time you feel like you've hit your limit, remember you're only at 40%. The other 60% is waiting for you to claim it. Practical takeaways. 1. Recognize that your mind often gives up before your body does. 2. When you feel like quitting, remind yourself that you're only at 40% of your potential. 3. Embrace discomfort as a sign of growth and an opportunity to push your limits. 4. Start small, push yourself just a little further in your workouts, tasks, or goals. 5. Develop mental resilience by consistently challenging your perceived limits. By applying the 40% rule, you'll not only achieve more than you thought possible, but you'll also develop the mental toughness needed to tackle any challenge life throws your way. Chapter 2. Taking souls. Imagine this. You're standing at the starting line of a race, and the guy next to you smirks and says, "You don't belong here." Or maybe you're at work, pitching a bold idea, and a colleague rolls their eyes and mutters, "That'll never work." In those moments, it's easy to feel defeated, to let the doubt and negativity seep into your mind and derail your confidence. But what if you could flip the script? What if, instead of letting those comments crush you, you used them as fuel to prove everyone wrong? That's exactly what David Goggins means when he talks about taking souls. The concept of taking souls is about turning adversity and negativity into motivation. It's about using the doubt, criticism, and even hatred from others as a catalyst to push yourself harder and achieve your goals. Goggins didn't just come up with this idea out of thin air. He lived it. Throughout his life, he faced relentless criticism and doubt. From his childhood, where he was told he'd never amount to anything, to his time as a Navy SEAL candidate, where instructors and peers alike questioned his ability to succeed, Goggins was constantly surrounded by negativity. But instead of letting it break him, he used it to build himself up. One of the most powerful examples of this comes from his time in SEAL training. During one of the most grueling evolutions known as Hell Week, Goggins was struggling. He was exhausted, injured, and on the verge of quitting. But then he noticed something. The instructors were watching him closely, waiting for him to fail. They didn't believe he had what it took to make it through. In that moment, Goggins made a decision. He wasn't just going to survive Hell Week, he was going to dominate it. He used the instructor's doubt as fuel, pushing himself harder than ever before. By the end of the week, he had not only completed the training but had earned the respect of those who had doubted him. That's what taking souls is all about. But this isn't just a strategy for extreme athletes or military personnel. It's a mindset that anyone can adopt. Think about the last time someone doubted you or criticized your efforts. Maybe it was a boss who questioned your abilities, a friend who laughed at your ambitions, or even a stranger who made a snide comment. In those moments, it's natural to feel hurt or angry. But what if, instead of letting those emotions paralyze you, you channeled them into action? What if you used that negativity as motivation to prove them wrong? Taking souls isn't about seeking out conflict or dwelling on negativity. It's about recognizing that doubt and criticism are inevitable, and using them to your advantage. When someone tells you that you can't do something, they're not just challenging your abilities. They're giving you an opportunity to rise above. Every negative comment, every skeptical glance, every dismissive remark is a chance to push yourself further and prove what you're truly capable of. This mindset requires a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing negativity as a roadblock, you start to see it as a stepping stone. It's not about ignoring the pain or pretending that criticism doesn't sting. It's about using that pain as fuel. Goggins often talks about the importance of embracing discomfort, and taking souls is an extension of that idea. When you learn to channel negativity into positive action, you transform it from something that holds you back into something that propels you forward. Let's take a real-world example. Imagine you're an entrepreneur pitching a new business idea. You've put in countless hours of work, and you're excited to share your vision with potential investors. But during the meeting, one of the investors dismisses your idea, saying it's too risky or not viable. In that moment, it's easy to feel defeated. But what if, instead of letting that comment derail you, you used it as motivation? What if you took that investor's doubt and turned it into a driving force to refine your pitch, improve your business plan, and ultimately prove them wrong? That's taking souls in action. Developing this mindset requires unwavering confidence. Not the kind of confidence that comes from never failing, but the kind that comes from knowing you can rise above any challenge. It's about believing in yourself, even when others don't. Goggins often says that confidence is built through action. Every time you push through a difficult situation, every time you prove someone wrong, you strengthen your belief in your own abilities. So, how do you start taking souls in your own life? Begin by paying attention to the moments when you encounter negativity or doubt. Instead of letting those moments define you, use them as fuel. When someone questions your abilities, let it motivate you to work harder. When someone criticizes your efforts, let it inspire you to improve. And when someone doubts your potential, let it drive you to prove them wrong. This mindset isn't just about achieving external success. It's about building inner strength. When you learn to channel negativity into positive action, you develop a resilience that can't be shaken. You stop relying on external validation and start trusting in your own abilities. And that's when you truly start to dominate your goals. Practical takeaways. 1. Recognize that negativity and doubt are inevitable, but they don't have to define you. 2. Use criticism and skepticism as motivation to push yourself harder. 3. Shift your perspective. See negativity as a stepping stone, not a roadblock. 4. Build unwavering confidence through action and perseverance. 5. Prove your critics wrong by achieving your goals and exceeding expectations. By adopting the mindset of taking souls, you'll not only achieve your goals but also develop the resilience and confidence needed to tackle any challenge. Remember, every negative comment, every skeptical glance, every dismissive remark is an opportunity to rise above and show the world what you're truly capable of. Chapter 3. The Accountability Mirror. Picture this. You're standing in front of a mirror, But this isn't your typical morning routine. You're not checking your hair or adjusting your clothes. Instead, you're staring directly into your own eyes, forcing yourself to confront the truth about who you are and where you're at in life. It's uncomfortable, even painful, but it's also one of the most powerful tools for personal growth. This is the essence of what David Goggins calls the accountability mirror, a practice of honest self-reflection that requires you to face your flaws, take responsibility for your actions, and commit to making real changes. The accountability mirror isn't just a metaphor. It's a literal practice that Goggins used to transform his life. At one of his lowest points, he found himself overweight, working a dead-end job, and feeling completely stuck. He knew he needed to change, but he also knew that change wouldn't happen until he was brutally honest with himself. So, he stood in front of a mirror and started asking hard questions. Why was he in this position? What choices had led him here? And most importantly, what was he going to do about it? This wasn't a one-time exercise. Goggins made it a daily habit, using the mirror as a tool to hold himself accountable. Every morning, he would look himself in the eye and assess his progress. If he had fallen short of his goals, he didn't make excuses or blame others. He took full responsibility. This practice forced him to confront his weaknesses head-on and take actionable steps to address them. Over time, it became the foundation of his incredible transformation. So, what does the accountability mirror mean for you? At its core, it's about taking ownership of your life. It's about recognizing that you are the only person responsible for your actions, decisions, and outcomes. This can be a tough pill to swallow, especially when it's easier to blame external factors, your boss, your circumstances, your upbringing, for where you are. But the truth is, until you take full accountability, you'll never be able to make meaningful progress. Let's break this down with an example. Imagine you've been trying to get in shape for months, but you keep falling off track. You tell yourself it's because you're too busy, or the gym is too far, or you just don't have the willpower. But when you stand in front of the accountability mirror, you're forced to admit the real reason. You haven't been prioritizing your health. You've been making excuses instead of making time. This realization is uncomfortable, but it's also empowering. Because once you take responsibility, you can start making changes. The accountability mirror isn't just about identifying your weaknesses. It's also about recognizing your strengths and celebrating your progress. Goggins emphasizes the importance of being honest about both. If you've made strides toward your goals, acknowledge them. If you've overcome a challenge, give yourself credit. This balanced approach keeps you motivated while ensuring you stay focused on areas that need improvement. One of the most powerful aspects of this practice is its ability to cut through denial and self-deception. It's easy to lie to ourselves, to convince ourselves that we're doing better than we really are. But when you're standing in front of a mirror, looking yourself in the eye, there's nowhere to hide. You can't sugarcoat the truth or shift the blame. You have to face it head-on. This level of honesty can be uncomfortable, but it's also incredibly liberating. When you take full responsibility for your life, you reclaim your power. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the architect of your future. This shift in mindset is crucial for achieving any meaningful goal, whether it's losing weight, advancing in your career, or improving your relationships. So, how do you start using the accountability mirror in your own life? Begin by setting aside time each day for honest self-reflection. Stand in front of a mirror and ask yourself tough questions. What did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What's one thing I can improve tomorrow? Be specific and avoid vague answers. If you didn't meet a goal, don't just say, "I'll try harder." Identify the specific actions you need to take and commit to them. It's also important to approach this practice with compassion. The accountability mirror isn't about beating yourself up or dwelling on your mistakes. It's about taking ownership and using that awareness to drive positive change. When you identify a weakness, don't see it as a failure, see it as an opportunity to grow. Over time, this practice will help you develop a deeper sense of self-awareness and accountability. You'll start to notice patterns in your behavior and make more intentional choices. You'll become more resilient, more focused, and more committed to your goals. And perhaps most importantly, you'll stop waiting for external circumstances to change and start taking control of your own life. Practical takeaways. 1. Set aside time each day. 4. Honest self-reflection using the accountability mirror. 2. Take full responsibility for your actions, decisions, and outcomes. 3. Identify your weaknesses and commit to actionable steps for improvement. 4. Celebrate your progress and acknowledge your strengths. 5. Approach the practice with compassion, using it as a tool for growth rather than self-criticism. By incorporating the accountability mirror into your daily routine, you'll develop the self-awareness and accountability needed to achieve your goals and transform your life. Remember, the only person responsible for your success is you, and the first step to claiming that success is looking yourself in the eye and taking ownership of where you are and where you want to be. Chapter 4. The cookie jar. Imagine you're in the middle of a grueling challenge. Maybe it's a marathon, a tough project at work, or a personal goal that feels impossible. Your body is exhausted, your mind is screaming at you to quit, and every step forward feels like a battle. In moments like these, it's easy to lose sight of why you started in the first place. But what if you had a secret weapon to keep you going? What if you could reach into a mental cookie jar and pull out a memory of a time when you overcame the odds, pushed through the pain, and came out stronger on the other side? That's exactly what David Goggins means when he talks about the cookie jar. The cookie jar is a metaphor for the collection of past victories and moments of resilience that we carry with us. It's a mental reservoir of strength that we can draw from when faced with new challenges. Goggins didn't come up with this concept because he had an easy life. He created it because he needed a way to survive some of the toughest moments imaginable. During his Navy SEAL training, ultra-endurance races, and other extreme challenges, he found himself constantly pushed to his limits. In those moments, he learned to reach into his cookie jar and pull out memories of past successes to remind himself that he was capable of more than he thought. One of the most powerful examples of this comes from his experience during the Badwater 135, one of the most grueling ultramarathons in the world. The race takes place in Death Valley, where temperatures can soar above 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and runners have to cover 135 miles of brutal terrain. Goggins was struggling. His body was breaking down, and his mind was telling him to quit. But then he remembered a time when he had pushed through a similar level of pain during SEAL training. He reached into his cookie jar, pulled out that memory, and used it to keep moving forward. That mental boost was enough to get him through the race. The beauty of the cookie jar is that it's not just for extreme athletes or military personnel. It's a tool that anyone can use, no matter what challenges they're facing. Think about the last time you accomplished something difficult. Maybe it was finishing a tough project, overcoming a personal setback, or achieving a long-term goal. That moment of triumph is a cookie, and it belongs in your jar. The next time you're faced with a challenge, you can reach into your cookie jar and remind yourself of what you're capable of. But here's the thing. The cookie jar isn't just about remembering big, life-changing victories. It's also about recognizing the small wins that often go unnoticed. Maybe you got through a tough day at work, stuck to a new habit for a week, or pushed through a workout when you didn't feel like it. Those moments matter, and they deserve a place in your jar. Over time, these small victories add up, creating a reservoir of confidence and resilience that you can draw from when you need it most. So, how do you start building your own cookie jar? Begin by taking stock of your past successes. Think about the times when you've overcome challenges, pushed through discomfort, or achieved something you're proud of. Write them down if it helps. The act of recalling these moments not only reinforces them in your memory, but also reminds you of your strength and resilience. Once you've identified your cookies, make it a habit to revisit them regularly. When you're faced with a new challenge, take a moment to reach into your jar and pull out a memory that inspires you. Use it as a reminder that you've been through tough times before and come out stronger on the other side. This mental boost can be the difference between giving up and pushing through. Let's take a real-world example. Imagine you're an entrepreneur launching a new business. The road is full of obstacles, rejections, setbacks, and moments of self-doubt. In those tough moments, it's easy to lose confidence and question whether you're cut out for this. But if you've built a cookie jar, you can reach into it and pull out a memory of a time when you overcame a similar challenge. Maybe it was a previous project that succeeded against the odds, or a time when you turned a failure into a learning opportunity. That memory becomes a source of strength, reminding you that you're capable of overcoming whatever comes your way. The cookie jar is also a powerful tool for building confidence. When you're faced with a new challenge, it's natural to feel uncertain or intimidated. But when you have a collection of past victories to draw from, you can approach the challenge with a sense of confidence and determination. You know that you've been through tough times before and come out stronger, and that knowledge gives you the courage to keep going. Over time, the cookie jar becomes more than just a collection of memories. It becomes a mindset. It's a reminder that you are stronger than you think, and that you have the resilience to overcome any challenge. It's a way of reframing your past experiences as sources of strength, rather than just moments to move on from. And perhaps most importantly, it's a tool for staying motivated and focused, even when the road ahead seems impossible. Practical takeaways. 1. Identify your past victories and moments of resilience. These are your cookies. 2. Build your cookie jar by writing down or regularly recalling these moments. 3. Use your cookie jar as a source of strength and confidence when faced with new challenges. 4. Recognize and celebrate small wins. They deserve a place in your jar too. 5. Approach challenges with the mindset that you've overcome tough times before and can do it again. By building and using your cookie jar, you'll develop a reservoir of confidence and resilience that can help you tackle any challenge. Remember, every victory, big or small, is a reminder of your strength and capability. So, the next time you're faced with a tough moment, reach into your jar, pull out a cookie, and remind yourself of what you're truly capable of. Chapter 5. The Power of Visualization. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, about to leap into the unknown. Your heart is racing, your palms are sweaty, and every instinct is telling you to step back. But instead of giving in to fear, you close your eyes and picture yourself soaring through the air, landing safely on the other side. You see every detail, the wind rushing past you, the ground approaching, the feeling of triumph as you stick the landing. When you open your eyes, the fear hasn't completely disappeared, but it's tempered by a sense of confidence and focus. This is the power of visualization, a mental tool that David Goggins has used to conquer some of the most daunting challenges of his life. Visualization isn't just about daydreaming or wishful thinking. It's a deliberate practice of mentally rehearsing success, and it's as crucial to achieving your goals as physical training or strategic planning. Goggins didn't stumble upon this concept by accident. He discovered it out of necessity. During his Navy SEAL training, ultra-endurance races, and other extreme challenges, he found himself constantly pushed to his limits. In those moments, visualization became a way to prepare his mind for the pain and difficulty ahead. By picturing himself succeeding, he was able to build the confidence and focus needed to push through. One of the most striking examples of this comes from his preparation for the Badwater 135, a 135-mile ultramarathon through Death Valley. The race is notorious for its extreme heat, grueling terrain, and high dropout rate. Goggins knew that completing it would require more than just physical endurance. It would demand mental toughness. So, in the weeks leading up to the race, he spent hours visualizing every stage of the event. He pictured himself running through the scorching desert, battling fatigue, and crossing the finish line. He imagined the pain, the discomfort, and the moments of doubt, but he also visualized himself pushing through and succeeding. When race day arrived, he wasn't just physically prepared. He was mentally ready to face whatever came his way. The power of visualization lies in its ability to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. When you visualize success, you're not just imagining an outcome, you're training your brain to believe it's possible. This mental rehearsal helps you build confidence, reduce anxiety, and stay focused on your goals. It's like creating a mental blueprint for success, one that guides your actions and decisions when the going gets tough. But visualization isn't just for extreme athletes or high-stakes situations. It's a tool that anyone can use, whether you're preparing for a job interview, a difficult conversation, or a personal goal. Think about the last time you faced a challenging situation. Did you spend time mentally preparing for it, or did you go in blind? If you're like most people, you probably didn't give much thought to the mental aspect of preparation. But what if you had? What if you had taken a few minutes to visualize yourself succeeding, to picture every step of the process and imagine the feeling of accomplishment. How might that have changed your approach? Let's take a real-world example. Imagine you're about to give a presentation at work. You've prepared your slides and practiced your talking points, but you're still nervous. What if, instead of letting that nervousness take over, you spent a few minutes visualizing the presentation? Picture yourself standing confidently in front of the room, delivering your points with clarity and conviction. Imagine the audience nodding in agreement, the feeling of relief and pride as you finish. By the time you step into the room, you're not just prepared, you're mentally primed for success. The key to effective visualization is specificity. The more detailed your mental rehearsal, the more powerful it becomes. Don't just picture the end result. Imagine every step of the process. What will you see, hear, and feel along the way? What challenges might arise, and how will you overcome them? By visualizing both the journey and the destination, you prepare yourself for the realities of the task ahead. Visualization also helps you stay motivated and aligned with your goals. When you're working toward a long-term goal, it's easy to lose sight of why you started in the first place. Visualization keeps you connected to your purpose, reminding you of what you're working toward and why it matters. It's like having a mental compass that guides you through the ups and downs of the journey. So, how do you start incorporating visualization into your own life? Begin by setting aside time each day for mental rehearsal. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and picture yourself succeeding in a specific goal or challenge. Be as detailed as possible. Imagine the sights, sounds, and feelings associated with the experience. If you're preparing for a difficult task, visualize yourself overcoming obstacles and pushing through discomfort. The more you practice, the more natural it will become. Over time, visualization becomes more than just a tool, it becomes a mindset. It's a way of approaching challenges with confidence and focus, knowing that you've already succeeded in your mind. It's a reminder that your thoughts have the power to shape your reality, and that by visualizing success, you're laying the groundwork for achieving it. Practical takeaways. 1. Set aside time each day for visualization, focusing on specific goals or challenges. 2. Be as detailed as possible in your mental rehearsal, imagining every step of the process. 3. Use visualization to build confidence, reduce anxiety, and stay focused on your goals. 4. Picture yourself overcoming obstacles and pushing through discomfort. 5. Stay connected to your purpose by regularly visualizing the end result and why it matters. By incorporating visualization into your daily routine, you'll develop the mental toughness and focus needed to achieve your goals. Remember, success starts in the mind. When you can see yourself succeeding, you're already one step closer to making it a reality. Chapter 6. Embracing the suck. Picture this. You're in the middle of a brutal workout. Your muscles are screaming, your lungs are on fire, and every part of you wants to stop. The voice in your head is pleading with you to take a break, to ease up, to give in. But instead of listening, you push harder. You lean into the pain, embrace the discomfort, and keep going. This isn't just about physical endurance, it's about a mindset. It's about learning to thrive in the most grueling conditions, not because you enjoy the suffering, but because you understand that it's a necessary part of growth. This is what David Goggins means when he talks about embracing the suck. Embracing the suck isn't about seeking out pain for the sake of it. It's about recognizing that discomfort is an inevitable part of any meaningful journey. Whether you're training for a marathon, building a business, or working on personal growth, there will be moments when it feels like too much. But instead of avoiding those moments, Goggins teaches us to lean into them. He shows us that by embracing the suck, we can transform discomfort into a powerful tool for growth. Goggins didn't come up with this concept because he had an easy life. He learned it through some of the most grueling experiences imaginable. During his Navy SEAL training, he faced conditions that would break most people. Freezing cold, relentless physical exertion, and constant mental pressure. But instead of giving in, he learned to embrace the suck. He realized that the pain and discomfort weren't just obstacles. They were opportunities to build resilience and mental toughness. This mindset became a cornerstone of his success, helping him push through challenges that seemed impossible. One of the most powerful examples of This comes from his experience during Hell Week, the most intense part of SEAL training. For 5.5 days, candidates are pushed to their absolute limits with minimal sleep, constant physical exertion, and extreme conditions. Goggins found himself in a state of constant discomfort, cold, wet, and exhausted. But instead of focusing on the pain, he embraced it. He told himself that every moment of suffering was making him stronger, that every step forward was a victory. By the end of the week, he had not only survived but thrived, proving to himself that he was capable of far more than he had ever imagined. So, what does embracing the suck mean for you? At its core, it's about shifting your perspective on discomfort. Instead of seeing it as something to avoid, you start to see it as a sign of growth. Think about the last time you faced a challenging situation. Maybe it was a tough workout, a difficult project at work, or a personal goal that required sacrifice. In those moments, it's natural to want to take the easy way out. But what if, instead of avoiding the discomfort, you leaned into it? What if you saw it as an opportunity to build resilience and strength? Let's break this down with an example. Imagine you're trying to get in shape, but every time you hit the gym, it feels like a struggle. Your body aches, your mind resists, and it's tempting to skip the workout altogether. But if you embrace the suck, you approach the discomfort with a different mindset. You remind yourself that the pain is temporary, but the strength you're building will last. You focus on the progress you're making, not the discomfort you're feeling. Over time, this shift in perspective transforms the way you approach challenges, making you more resilient and determined. Embracing the suck also requires a willingness to step outside your comfort zone. Growth doesn't happen when you're comfortable. It happens when you're pushing your limits. This means seeking out challenges that scare you, taking on tasks that feel overwhelming, and putting yourself in situations where failure is a real possibility. It's not easy, but it's necessary. As Goggins often says, you have to be willing to suffer if you want to achieve greatness. This mindset isn't just about physical challenges. It applies to every area of life. Whether you're navigating a difficult relationship, pursuing a career change, or working on personal development, there will be moments of discomfort. Embracing the suck means leaning into those moments, rather than avoiding them. It means recognizing that the discomfort is a sign that you're growing, and that the pain is temporary, but the progress is permanent. So, how do you start embracing the suck in your own life? Begin by paying attention to the moments when you feel discomfort. Instead of avoiding them, lean into them. Remind yourself that the pain is a sign of growth, and that every moment of discomfort is making you stronger. Focus on the progress you're making, not the challenges you're facing. It's also important to approach this mindset with balance. Embracing the suck doesn't mean ignoring your limits or pushing yourself to the point of injury. It's about recognizing that discomfort is a natural part of growth, and that by leaning into it, you can build resilience and strength. Over time, this mindset becomes a way of life. You start to see challenges as opportunities, discomfort as a sign of progress, and pain as a tool for growth. You develop a resilience that can't be shaken, and a determination that keeps you moving forward, no matter what obstacles you face. Practical takeaways. 1. Recognize that discomfort is a natural part of growth and progress. 2. Lean into discomfort, rather than avoiding it, to build resilience and strength. 3. Step outside your comfort zone by seeking out challenges that push your limits. 4. Focus on the progress you're making, not the discomfort you're feeling. 5. Approach this mindset with balance, recognizing your limits while pushing your boundaries. By embracing the suck, you'll develop the resilience and mental toughness needed to achieve your goals. Remember, discomfort is temporary, but the strength and growth you gain from it are permanent. So, the next time you're faced with a challenging situation, lean into the suck and remind yourself that you're capable of far more than you think. Imagine this. You're standing at the edge of a cliff, staring down at the water below. You've always wanted to jump, but every time you get close, fear takes over. Your heart races, your legs freeze, and you step back. Now, imagine if you could flip that fear into fuel, if you could use it to push yourself forward instead of holding you back. That's exactly what David Goggins teaches us in Can't Hurt Me. It's not just a book. It's a wake-up call to stop letting your mind call the shots and start taking control of your life. Here's the big idea. True greatness isn't about being born special or lucky. It's about confronting the mental barriers that hold you back, the fear, the self-doubt, the excuses, and smashing through them. Goggins' story is proof that no matter where you start, you can transform your life with self-discipline, accountability, and relentless effort. He didn't have a head start. He wasn't a natural athlete or a genius. He was just a guy who decided to stop making excuses and start taking ownership of his life. And if he can do it, so can you. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, I can't do this, or it's too hard, or I'm not good enough? Those thoughts aren't facts, they're just barriers you've built in your mind. Goggins shows us how to tear them down. It's not easy, but it's simple. It starts with recognizing that your mind gives up long before your body does. That's the 40% rule. When you feel like you've hit your limit, you're probably only at 40% of what you're truly capable of. The rest is waiting for you to claim it. But here's the thing, you can't just will yourself to push harder. You need tools. That's where the accountability mirror comes in. It's not just a mirror. It's a brutally honest conversation with yourself. It's about facing your flaws, taking responsibility for your actions, and committing to change. And then there's the cookie jar, a collection of past victories that remind you of your strength when you're feeling weak. It's like a mental safety net, catching you when you're about to fall. And let's not forget visualization. It's not just for athletes or CEOs. It's for anyone who's ever felt stuck. Picture yourself succeeding. See every detail, the sights, the sounds, the feelings. When you can see it in your mind, you're already one step closer to making it real. But here's the kicker. None of this works if you're not willing to embrace discomfort. Growth doesn't happen when you're comfortable. It happens when you're pushing your limits, leaning into the pain, and embracing the suck. It's not about enjoying the struggle. It's about recognizing that the struggle is where the magic happens. So what does all this mean for you? It means you have the power to change your life. It means you can stop letting fear and self-doubt hold you back and start taking control of your future. It's not about being perfect. It's about being relentless. It's about showing up every day, even when it's hard, and doing the work. Think about the last time you faced a challenge. Maybe it was a tough workout, a difficult conversation, or a goal that felt out of reach. How did you handle it? Did you push through, or did you give up? Now, imagine if you had the tools to keep going, to push past the pain, silence the doubt, and keep moving forward. That's what Can't Hurt Me gives you. Here's the best part. You don't have to be a Navy SEAL or an ultra-endurance athlete to use these tools. They work for anyone, no matter where you're starting from. Whether you're trying to get in shape, build a business, or just get through a tough day, these strategies can help you stay focused, motivated, and resilient. So what's stopping you? What's that one thing you've been putting off because it feels too hard, too scary, or too overwhelming? What if you could flip that fear into fuel? What if you could use it to push yourself forward instead of holding you back? The truth is, you're capable of far more than you think. You just have to be willing to do the work. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. Because on the other side of fear, discomfort, and self-doubt is a life you can be proud of. So, here's your challenge. Pick one tool from Can't Hurt Me and start using it today. Maybe it's the 40% rule. Push yourself a little further in your next workout or project. Maybe it's the accountability mirror. Have an honest conversation with yourself about where you are and where you want to be. Or maybe it's the cookie jar. Remind yourself of a past victory to boost your confidence. The point is, you don't have to do it all at once. Start small. Take one step, and then take another. Because every step forward is a victory. Every moment of discomfort is a sign of growth. And every time you push past your limits, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of greatness. So what's it going to be? Are you ready to stop letting your mind call the shots and start taking control of your life? Are you ready to embrace the suck, push past the pain, and achieve the extraordinary? The choice is yours, and the time to start is now. Remember, true greatness isn't about being perfect. It's about being relentless. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and refusing to give up. So what are you waiting for? Your future is waiting. and it's going to be amazing.